Hello again. This is the Goats Guide for Obscurity. This time I'm Lucio. We did Brig, Zarya, Diva, Reinhardt. Now we're doing Lucio. Lucio is the least experience I have playing Goats. I've played Goats with a ton of roles, because I've been on a lot of teams and I've been playing Goats for a long time. But Lucio is the role I do not play at all. I've played Ryan, I've played Zarya, Diva, Zen, and Brig, but never Lucio. So I asked the advice of a 4200 Lucio one-trick player who is on a team I used to play with named Concrete. So yeah, this is his notes. So coming out here, you don't really use speed. You call speeds. Oh wait, I should just start. Okay, so you're out here, you're rolling out, you're defaulting again, defaulting, stacking, and being ready to get fuck ups. If your Ryan's over here, yeah, if the enemy Hanzo's over here, your Ryan calls go to Hanzo. You as Lucio, you speed, you call your speeds. So you really only speed for fuck ups. It allows goats to a short range comp speed into the enemy and capitalize on fuck ups. Even with the speed nerf, it's still good enough. So they call Ryan, you speed, jump. What I see a lot of good Lucios doing, which I find really cool, is that they like pray, they jump up, and then they jump up and then heal to slow down. So they use speed to get up and be fast and unpredictable, and then they use heal to slow down and line up their shots. So if there's a Hanzo up there, I did it wrong. I'm a bad Lucio. So you speed up, and then after that you kind of just randomly swap between speed and heal to be unpredictable, because if they can't predict what you're doing if you don't know what you're doing as well. So yeah, so you're rolling out and then you're defaulting. So you're defaulting here, you're behind the Rhine, you're over here. He says not to jump that much because jumping, one, makes it harder to move around with the team. You want to be in the center of the team, and being around is really chaotic. It's hard to land shots. It's just, you can be like a Zen can snipe you. Like, it just makes things way too chaotic. And so all you really need to do is just walk around. Right here, he said strafing is good enough. It's hard enough to hit a strafing Lucio, so he said strafing is good enough. So just speed, you're defaulting, so you're speeding here. If your team seems like they're settling down, like they're here, they're swinging, but they're not really moving up, you can heal, but then immediately speed. You want to be most of the time speeding. You only really want to be using heals if your team really needs it, and so you amp speed, or if it's like you guys are like soft resitting, you're just standing still, like for example over here, and you're just healing. So you're here. If there's a fuck up, you can call speed, and then boom. There is Lucios, especially in Overwatch League, a lot of Lucios have adopted a style of kind of like looking for fuck ups, where instead of like waiting for the enemy team to have a fuck up, so you're defaulting here, but it's not always a default when you're just trying to break shield right here, because people will fuck up, and then it's more better to capitalize on the fuck up, because it's not really if a fuck up will happen, it's when a fuck up will happen. So you don't really bet, you don't want to bet on not capitalizing off their fuck ups, and you guys will have fuck ups, and then they capitalize off of my team's fuck ups, and then we die. So it's usually whoever capitalizes on the fuck up first wins, if they do it properly, and if each one of the players is following these guides, they'll do it properly. If not, they usually find out why, and then they can adapt and learn from it. So yeah. So what Overwatch the players do is they kind of like speed up here. I'm not a good Lucio, I'm sorry. They like speed up here. They're like, woo, I'm SK. And then they kind of boop someone out of position. I don't really like this style because, especially when teams are starting out, which Obscurity is, it's like they don't really have the coordination to do it, and I don't think the Lucio player knows how to do it because they kind of need a lot of hours learning how Goats is ran and how everyone is positioned to boop. So I don't really like this style. I know it works, but I think it should be a concept you guys should do further on. So yeah, so just speeding here. If they call Tara, you just boom, and boom. You're with the team. You're defaulting again. Then you're going on to your next fuck up. So yeah, beat. You do not want to beat a grab because they will have enough damage to go through the beat. That's why trans is exclusively used for grab. You want to beat shatters and you want to beat bombs. That's it for ults. So if you lose the first fight and they have grab, that's if you like lose the first fight, if like either both teams are defaulting and your default loses where they break shield first and they kill your Ryan first and you need a backup, or you try to go for a fuck up and it fails where they like give the support to that player and then you die and you go too far and you cross the line, and you lose, and they have ults, for example, if they have grab, because grab is usually the first ultimate that comes up a ton, other than Zen ult or shatter, and you have beat. If you were like stamping, if you're getting your deep, you can use beat for the first point if your Zen doesn't have trans. But other than that, you want to be saving beat for shatters if they shatter your team, or if they have grab bomb and then you use beat to prevent the bomb. Yeah, if you cap point, you're moving up with your team, consolidating space, boom boom. If you lose, like I said, you play up default, but after default, you don't go after fuck ups, you go after ults, like I said in previous videos. So yeah, if it's another comp like Bunker, if they have like Bunker up there, just speed, you speed here, and then you Diva DM, and then you wait for speed boost, you wait for DM, and you rotate up here. If they have a Sin and they go over here, or you just go over here. You don't speed boost here. I just have a limited cooldown, so you just speed here, and then actually, whoa, my game just froze. Okay. I don't think you should actually speed in this specific situation. You can just heals, because your team is gonna fight here. But like, if it's like a standard 2-2-2 comp where it's like some really wacky stuff like Ryan, Zarya, Junkrat, Hanzo, you can just Diva DMs, then you speed into the Ryan. If you either kill the Ryan or the Ryan backs up, you can just speed on point. And then if the Ryan starts coming back, you just speed back into him and you kill him. If it's dive, you want to be going to point, because with the Ryan, you hold space much more stronger than a Winston does. So if the Winston touches, you can just speed and get the Winston while he has no jump. If they have Diva, it's the same thing. If they do it well, they can stall for a long time, but eventually you'll cap if you don't mess up. If they do an all-in dive, you just speed heals. And you have Brig Cookie to cookie the initial dive target. You have Zen Discord, you'll have the sustain, like bubbles and DM to prevent damage, and then after they use all their cooldowns, they're kind of useless and your team just wins in the default, while they don't. Because they're mostly trying to get picks, and you have your Goats has the resources to prevent those picks altogether. So you'd be speeding here, getting point. If like the Winston drops here, you kill him. Diva drop, you speed over there. They go for all-in dive. You guys should be defaulting, staying together, and heals. Yeah, that's it for Lucio.